Just hours ago, it was reported that Cardano saw over 300,000 total commits in 2026 alone. And this is not even the end of 2026 yet. And with ADA recovering around 8% in the past 24 hours, I think this recent showcase of Cardano statistics tells a pretty telling story. And I'll explain what this even means in today's video, even though I am not telling anyone to do anything. It's just my mindset perspective, and nothing I say is financial advice. So if we take a look at it, again, 300,000 approximate total commits when it comes to Cardano in 2026. The reason why this even matters is because if we take a look at a commit in this sense, right? Basically, if I just kind of want to put it in quite simple terms, it means the cumulative number of code changes or commits, right, that developers have made to a blockchain's core protocol repositories. Now, if I want to even simple things down a little bit farther, usually the more the commits, the better, some people would arguably say, because it could showcase more active, sustained development work on the blockchain's core protocol. So again, if there is more activity there, sometimes it's viewed as a good thing. It doesn't mean that it has, the best of the best adoption. No, not necessarily. It doesn't mean that it's the most popular. No. But again, usually the more commits, it's viewed as a better thing, arguably. So this is pretty impressive. Keep in mind, Cardano had so many total commits so far in 2026 to the point that it's currently ranked third in the world. I'm not joking. Just take a look at, the chart that I showcase on the screen, right? That's according to ChainSpec, by the way. So yes, ADA has had a slight recovery in the past 24 hours, but again, in the grand scheme of things, Cardano, there are a lot of things that sometimes people don't take into consideration. But I take this type of stuff into consideration because I think that the end goal when it comes to Cardano is, of course, better enterprise adoption, and also I think better general adoption overall. That's the key to its longevity, right? So of course, seeing this, I think is pretty impressive. Now, if you want to see how this kind of stacks up against some of the other competition, I would say, if we take a look at Cardano, of course, it still loses out to Ethereum, which saw around 500,000 commits so far in 2026. But again, Cardano being third in the world, it basically means that it overtakes pretty much everything other than Ethereum and Polkadot, allegedly, when it comes to total commits so far, at least in 2026. So we got to take that into consideration. I mean, Cardano even had more total commits in 2026 than Bitcoin and Solana combined, right? I mean, that is what is showcased. That's just what I can observe. But again, this is quite telling, I think, as to what really goes on when it comes to Cardano. Now, again, I need to clarify, right? The higher total commits doesn't mean better adoption, because clearly Bitcoin, Solana is more popular than this. But at the same time, I think this is pretty impressive. Now, people are going to tell me, oh, wow, ADA, with this recovery, it's still below 20 cents. Well, yeah, it is. But here's the thing. I don't think that this is the most fantastic thing of all time, because I see a lot of people out there saying, oh, wow, this is so legendary and all this. We have to consider, when it comes to ADA, the journey still seems quite far, right? I mean, with an almost 8% recovery in the past 24 hours, this is still below 20 cents. Now, it could change by the time I upload this video, but I'm just saying. $1 was viewed as something that was quite boring when it comes to ADA not that long ago. It was hovering at around $1 just last year, right? And quite casually, I might add, right? We're around 5 times lower than that, or should I say 5 times away from that? Let me correct myself there. So if we take a look at that right there, ADA, the journey, even just back to $1, is still quite far. Keep in mind, at this point, we're still approximately 15 times away than its all-time high. The all-time high is $3. So if we put that into consideration, or we take that into consideration, I should say, $1 is really nothing that spectacular, right? I mean, it was viewed as really boring, actually. And we saw $1 pretty much last year just casually like that, and we're approximately 5 times away from even $1, and yet around 15 times away from the all-time high. So again, with this slight recovery, ADA is still down by quite a lot, which I don't really mind though, because I don't mind the dip, so to speak. And yes, I know some people like to say, how can this be a dip? The recovery is almost 8% in the past 24 hours. Yeah, if it's like recovered around 8%, but still around 5 times away than even $1, then it's still considered, in my opinion, as being quite low in the grand scheme of things. So I don't view this as something so spectacular. I view it, if anything, as a decent slight recovery that I don't mind, but at the same time, it is still something that I also have to take into consideration and zoom out a little bit and say that, hey, you know what, this isn't really too much in the grand scheme of things, which is why I'm just still waiting and holding. Now, I don't have to hold, I don't have to wait. This is purely voluntary on my part, but I'm just saying, when it comes to Cardano as of right now, it's still quite low, comparatively speaking, to where it once was last year and the year before, and even its all-time high. Now, if we take a look at it, Cardano, people like to tell me, people forgot about this, but again, something that's quote unquote forgot about won't see over 300,000 total commits, especially in 2026. Keep in mind, is the first half of this year so fantastic for altcoins? No, sir, it's not. And if we take a look at, in the case of Cardano, being able to see that much activity given unfavorable market conditions, it is quite impressive in my opinion, because it's not the usual to see something have that much activity go on for it, especially if the market isn't doing the best. And keep in mind, again, Cardano is ranked top 3 in the world in terms of total commits as of late. This is not a top 3 project as of right now. ADA is ranked 15th in the world in terms of market cap when it comes to this particular space. Again, people like to say, oh, you know, this is so bad. But typically projects that are ranked this high and consistently in the top 50, it usually doesn't get forgotten about randomly if the market were to recover. We've seen Cardano, or should I say ADA, time and time again kind of mirror the market, right? Sure, when it goes down too, but this is not a project that typically gets forgotten about, because usually when the market recovers, it sometimes goes along with the ride to a certain extent. And we're kind of seeing that as of right now. You know, the whole space overall recovered, you know, slightly, and this is kind of tagging along a little bit. Now, the reason why I think that projects within this space, typically if they're already so popular, they don't usually get forgotten about like that, is because I take a look at Luna. Now it's known as Luna Classic, right? But Luna back then, take a look at what nonsense happened to it. Now, some time has passed by, a couple of years, but because of the historical notoriety that Luna had, or has, I should say, even up until right now, it's at the point that it's not even forgotten about like that. This is a project here in the case of Luna Classic, which is consistently, I've seen in the top 150 and all this, top 200. So even with a project with that much baggage, so to speak, it is still able to kind of maintain a quite popular positioning just because it was so popular in the past. We contrast that with Cardano, which never experienced even 1% of that nonsense. People like to say, oh, wow, you know, people are going to forget about this if the market were to recover. Well, how does that make sense? You know, people still remember Luna Classic. Cardano consistently in the top 20 and all this. That's randomly going to get forgotten about like that? Yeah, I just have a hard time believing that. But besides that point, when it comes to Cardano, long story short, it gives me a vibe where it's not ignored if the market sometimes hypothetically were to recover. But again, as of right now, I'm still waiting. And again, I don't even need ADA to go back to the $3 actually as of right now. If ADA goes back to $1, I'm already going to Sizzler, you know, the restaurant, or maybe Ruth's Chris, which they even have a Ruth's Chris in Cancun, by the way. I was so happy when I saw that initially. You know, again, I don't need ADA to go to like $2 or $3 for me to be happy. If it just goes back to $1, which isn't even that good anyways in the grand scheme of things, historically, right? Even that in and of itself would already feel like a miniature altcoin season to me, in which case I wouldn't even be disappointed at all if it only goes back there. But that's a big if. We'll wait and see. As of right now, I'm just waiting. I mean, that's all I can really do, I suppose. But seeing that recent chart, I thought it was quite impressive seeing over 300,000 total commits when it comes to Cardano in 2026, at least so far. But I'll be sure to make more updates and continue to document my journey as time goes on. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for future upcoming videos. It's been Lee the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.